All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Monday Bible study. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud. And upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man. Now, earlier when we did Revelation 10:1, or Revelation 10, what did I say? Angel or Jesus stops time. I believe now that it's Jesus. And we'll tell you why. First of all, because only Jesus could stop time. God. But when you get into the study of the clouds, Jesus said, behold, he cometh with the clouds. Or John said it, and every eye shall see him. So the clouds are associated with Jesus. So here comes the cloud in Revelation 10, and the rainbow is associated with God on his throne. So if you remember back then, we were like trying to figure out, is that God? Is it Jesus? Is it Jesus? I mean, is it God in Jesus, or is it just a regular mighty angel? I'm now going to go with that it was Jesus, because in 11:12, the church, or the two witnesses, they ascended, which was the church divided by two, up into heaven in a cloud. Because when the Lord comes to reap the earth, now in the clouds, he's on a white horse. And we get into that in Revelation 19. So this is the same event. Revelation 11, Revelation 14, and in Revelation 11, Revelation 14, Revelation 19. It's all the same. 19 doesn't say cloud, but it's white horse. But you know that it's Jesus, and we'll get into that. I saw heaven open, behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him was called Faithful and True, and he doth judge and make war. So, and I looked, and behold, now this is the removal of the church again. Church is removed many times. Okay, 14:14. We'll just say that, we'll put it in the blue, but let it stand alone. Got the wrong shade of blue, don't I? Yep. A little too dark. All right. And so Jesus is coming on a white cloud, referred to as the Son of Man, golden crown, sharp sickle. He's going to reap the earth with that sickle. And another angel came out. So it says another angel. Well, maybe that's because earlier in 14, it speaks of angels. Let's see. When you do these a little bit at a time, it gets tricky. Yeah, see these angels? Third angel. Another angel. So the angels are just coming out everywhere, right? So another angel, not referring to Jesus, another angel, because there were angels all coming out all throughout this chapter, out of the temple, crying with a loud voice, to him that sat on the cloud, which is Jesus, thrust in thy sickle and remove your church, or thrust in thy sickle and do a post-trib rapture, or thrust in thy sickle, for the time has come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud, Jesus, thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped, or the church was removed. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. So he's about to do some work too. And another angel came out of the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the second sharp sickle, because Jesus already had done his work. He's removed the church, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine for the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. Now that's called a vine. And it says Jesus is the true vine. So is this the fake vine? Because the angel thrust in his sickle on the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. So when Jesus is the true vine in John 15, I believe it's 15:1, there is also the Antichrist. How is it worded? I am the true vine, and the Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit will be taken away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, and it may bring forth more fruit. I am the vine, ye are the branches. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and it is withered. And men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and that's the second death, by the way. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, bearing fruit. If you keep my commandments, this is my commandment. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. So it is a bit of a paradox that the goat world is referred to as a vine also. So there is the true vine, and there is the vine that does not bear fruit. And it is gathered it's referred to as clusters. I want to look at that. 14:18. You can't always depend on Blue Letter. Clusters of what exactly? A bunch or a cluster of grapes. So it's fruit. So that's but it's for the wrath of God. So I don't know how to solve that. Y'all see what I'm talking about, right? When Jesus talks about, that's the only other time I could think that the word vine is well, it starts with John 15. Oh, Genesis. So it's going to be a lot of it. How much? Well, you got vine all over the place, don't you? Well, hang on just a second. At the end, it's vinegar that Jesus drank, but it's all about the fruit of the vine, but it's all about vineyard. That word vine is really vineyard all throughout Matthew. So, you know, we'll just keep going. I'm going to assume all those gospels are the same. Well, I looked up every vine in the New Testament, and there is nothing that would speak of goats. So it's just one of those things that euphemism. But that's euphemism is too harsh. It's on the parallel of the vine of the church and Jesus being the true vine, or his sheep being the fruit or bearing fruit. In this particular case, it has no backing in the rest of in the Bible. I think what it's trying to say, and see, you'd really have to go back and look at a lot of these words in the Greek. It's a wine press. Yeah, I just, because it says grapes, says they're fully ripe, but then it's going to be a wine press, like as if it's blood being splattered. And the wine press was trodden down without the city, and the blood came out of the wine press, even unto a horse's bridles by a space of 1,600 furlongs. So it stands alone, and it's just a description of hang on, I'll check one more thing. Ooh, I wasn't recording, and I thought I was. So anyway, long story short, I forget where I stopped it, but it just stands alone. It is the great wine press. It is the wrath of God, but it does refer to them as grapes and that they are fully ripe, even though everywhere else in the Bible is talking about the church. In this particular case, it's just talking about blood splattering. And unto the angel thrust in thy sickle to the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden down without the city. The blood came up out of the winepress, even to a horse's bridles by the space of 1,006 furlongs. I think I read that to y'all when I was recording, but I'm not sure. So it just stands alone. And that's all, it's as simple as that. So the removal of the church again was 15 and 16 is removal of the church. Removal. Yep. And the rest, I think it's all the way to verse 20. Wrath of God. Goats are removed. Winepress. Okay. And that's that. That takes care of that study. We're going to move on to James. Sorry, just prepping for tomorrow. James 3:11 through 21. Doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Help. Does a spring water bubble out with fresh water and bitter water? Does a fig tree produce olives or a grapevine? Yeah, this literally showed up in my search of vine. I was like, James, that's what we're in. Does a fig tree produce olives or a grapevine produce figs? No. And you can't draw fresh water from a salty spring. If you are wise and understand God's ways, prove it by living an honorable life. Now, if you're His, you will live the honorable life automatically because He's going to bring you through it. And it will be a very painful, situation coming out of the world and so forth. But that's how it works. If you are wise and understand God's ways, prove it by living an honorable life, doing good works with the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you are bitterly jealous and there is selfish ambition in your heart, don't cover up the truth with boasting and lying. For jealousy and selfishness are not God's kind of wisdom. Such things are earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For wherever there is jealousy and self ambition, there you will find disorder and evil of every kind. Oh, excuse me. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure. It is also peace loving, gentle at all times, and willing to yield to others. It is full of mercy and the fruit of good deeds. It shows no favoritism and is always sincere. No favoritism when it comes to sheep, fellow sheep. And those who are peacemakers will plant seeds of peace and reap a harvest of righteousness. Well, there's that reap again. Isn't that interesting that we had reaping the harvest in both studies today? I love it when all that comes together like that. And Vine, I mean, you can't make it up. If you've been following along, you can sure tell that wasn't planned that way. I don't have that kind of time on my hands, and I am not AI. So, to read it over in the King James, though, For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of the righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. All right. Love y'all very much. Any questions, just ask.